I'm Renee,
And I'm Staci.
and here we are. We are, what is it, page to screen, and
In between,
there we go.
which basically means everything that comes into our brain you guys get to hear.
Exactly. Thank you for being with us.
Yes.
This is our first live broadcast. We don't know how it's going to go. There could be technical difficulties. We could end up talking over each other. So just kind of bear with us and let's just go on this little adventure together.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So when we started talking about this, you and I, Staci,
Uh-huh.
well, let's kind of talk about how it even started. Do you want to tell us?
Way back in the day? Way back in the day?
Yeah, back in, what was it, 2000, 2001 when we met?
Yes. So we moved back to Lincoln in 2002. So it had to be 2002.
Yeah.
I said, well, you're going to get all flushed. You're going to get all blurry and blushy. But Renee was the most fascinating person that I had ever met. I mean, like every time you would tell me something, I'd be like, oh, I get to know her. Oh, I get to be her friend. Oh, she wants to be my friend. And it was just like, it was so cool. And there was just an instant connection. We had geography on our side,
For
which
sure.
I think a lot of friendships ebb and flow with geography. I do. I mean, it's just easier when you are close and when you can, be, especially back in the day before FaceTime, before all of that. And then, of course, our daughter's relationship really helped. Our daughters had an instant connection with each other and still do to this day. So that one was good, and we just connected. But then you go in and tell them about the Bridgerton or the book connection. Our book connection is really fun.
Yeah. So at the time, I was pursuing my career in romance writing, and I wanted to be this prolific romance writer. And in order to do that, I knew I needed to be a reader. And so I wanted to write historical fiction, and I knew romance was kind of the way to start, maybe. And so I was really excited about that. And I found Julie's books, Julia Quinn's books, and it was the Bridgerton books. And I wanted somebody else to read it with me. But am I correct in remembering we started with the third book, not the first?
Did we?
If I remember.
Really?
But
Oh my goodness.
you, and I
Because
remember
we thought it was the A.
We were friends in the church.
Right.
And so I was nervous handing you this book because it's pretty racy.
You literally said, this ain't a church book. This isn't a church book.
And so began our adventure of being church ladies, but really not.
No.
Okay, so I said, you've got to read this book. I just want to hear what you think. And I was nervous handing it to you, but I also knew that you were a reader. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be able to talk to a reader about what makes a good book. Yeah. And the Bridgerton books, I thought, at the time, I have a different idea now. At the time, I thought they were wonderful. They were so good. I was gobbling them up. Yeah. What was your take when you first read the book?
Yeah, I think I read all 8 of the Bridgerton originals within, I want to say, like 2 or 3 months. I mean, it was just one after another that we just kept reading them, and I know it's going to sound, the stories were so intriguing to me. And yeah, they were a little racy, but really what really drew me were all of these family stories, the family dynamics, the couple dynamics. Like there were just so many layers of stories, the history, like the trauma in the past, like there were just so many stories within the story that I just was intrigued by it. So just kept reading.
Yeah. And I think the idea was, once we read the first one, it was not at all okay, we're just gonna, whenever we get around to it, we really did glom these books, is what it's called. We were like, okay. And I do remember, I think we started with book 3, Colin and Penelope's book.
We did.
And you got mad at me because you're like,
because that blew the whole thing.
Yeah. It was like, wait a minute, this isn't the first book. And so we had to start over.
Yes. Yes. And it's so interesting. I guess we can get to that. That she's written second epilogues now.
Yeah.
Since then, which I mean, they're long and they're a little, for me, an epilogue should just be a little snippet of what she thought, was what happened. But I want to keep in my brain and the second epilogue, when I read this the second time, took out everything out of my brain. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, this is a perfect segue into our next section, which is the page to screen,
right?
Part of our podcast. We were just going to kind of chat and then kind of move into it.
Yeah.
So very different reading this the second time.
Oh my goodness. And after watching.
So one thing as a writer, I wanted to kind of point out with the book before we keep going.
Yeah.
Is that there's a prologue in the book. And the prologue is when Simon, the Duke of Hastings, is a little boy.
Right.
And one thing about a prologue, especially in romance, is it's used to sort of give an insight into a character that may not be likable for a very long time. And if you kind of read this book and you don't know anything about him, he isn't likable in the first probably half of the book, except for the prologue lets us know why this whole stuttering and why his father was so mean. And we also understand throughout the book why he doesn't want to have children and why he's made this vow. Okay. And I think it made it more understandable, and a lot of the conflict was deeper in the book than in the movies. Okay. What did you think?
Yes, for sure. I mean, in the episodes, in the Netflix episodes, he's just a jerk. I mean, like
through the whole marriage,
like there's no tenderness at all. And in the book, we get to hear his thoughts. Like, oh, I was just a jerk to her, but I love her so much.
Or I was just love her.
Yeah, and I continue. Yeah, and I mean, like all of these thoughts we get to hear, which that is one of the reasons I love books, is we get to hear the thoughts instead of having them like assumed or put onto screen. It's a little bit harder to hear thoughts, right? I mean, and his thoughts make him a little more tender to me.
I would agree.
Than what it shows on screen. So, yeah. But
yeah.
One thing that was interesting is, I read it, 20 years ago. 20 years went by. When I first watched Bridgerton, just like a couple years ago or a year ago, I was like, oh, I love it. It's so great, because I hadn't read it for, like 20 years ago. So everything, I was like, oh, this is great. I love it. It's because the characters and the
scenery,
the scenery was right there, was the same. So then fast forward to, this week, and I'm rereading it, and I'm like, no, it was
nothing, hardly. And actually, I think because you and I had read all the books.
Right.
So when we watched it 20 years later, and like you said, we read them within months.
Right.
So we read 8 books, like probably a book a week.
Right.
So then 20 years later, fast forward, we knew all the stories. We knew every single character, including Gregory, who's a baby in the book, a little boy.
Right.
And, but we had that benefit. So when Shonda Rhimes introduces the Bridgerton family, it makes sense to us because we knew them already. We knew all of them.
Right.
But after, okay, wait, I'm going to start over. And so I read the book first, like most people do, and then I watched the Netflix again, and I binged them yesterday.
Okay.
And okay, first of all, a lot of creative license in the Netflix series, like adding the Queen. The Queen is not
Right.
in the book.
Not at all.
No,
The whole queen scenario of her picking Daphne.
the debutantes, yes, the
Yes.
whole presentation at court,
Yeah.
that was never even addressed in any
Right.
of the books.
Right.
And
And
while
yeah.
accurate, and honestly, I think it made, I really like Queen Charlotte. I think she's a charming addition. And I think that it did create an excitement to the series that wasn't in this book.
Have you seen the Queen Charlotte?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
And I actually, the Queen Charlotte Netflix, right? That
right.
I really like that, because then
Yeah, I
that
think I
brings
bawled through the
another layer
I
of
cried.
history, yeah, of
Yeah.
why she is how she is. So you got an element with them doing that of what I'm talking about, is we got to see the thoughts, her thoughts, why she's the way she is, really in depth in that series.
It's like
So
a
then
long prologue.
right, exactly. And then you get to go back and go, that's why she's that way. That's why she's that way. You know, she's protecting. And so it is interesting that, yeah, the Queen is completely absent in the books.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was ever mentioned.
No.
And
Her debut, all they really talk about is her being out of the season. The season. Like you don't even understand what the season is when you're reading the book.
But Whistledown isn't really focused on in the books. Right, at the first book. It's got that little snippet at the beginning of each chapter, but in the series or in the Netflix, they are like obsessed with her, and she's narrating the whole thing.
Yeah. And they got Julie Andrews to be the voice.
Right.
And it becomes Whistledown and the Queen become really the focal point.
Right.
You know, and so as we continue this discussion, let's just focus on knowing now who we are 25 years later. What did we
so mature, so it's come so far.
What have we?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have, because I said, so one of the things that I kind of wrote down as I was reflecting on our relationship, and you know, we've had, you know, ups and downs, life circumstances, pivotal moments. We've had those. They're not in writing, you know, but those are real life things, and we've come full circle and kind of started back at the start. And we have all that history that can help us move forward in our relationship now and to come. And the history isn't all roses always, but that helps build us and helps us be able to be better people. I think people try to avoid thinking about conflict or the bad or the whatever, and we can take it all. We can take all the bad, all the good. You know, this is life, and I love that. I love. It's almost better that we've overcome and come back than if it would have just been a vanilla.
Yeah, we've reconnected.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times we didn't even talk. I mean, there was a little bit of an ugly history there for a little while.
Yeah.
And then the slow coming back together and understanding who we are. I mean, now we're both grandmothers. You know, and our children, our daughters have been wanting this. You know, they've been pushing for it. I know mine has. I'm sure
mine too. Mine too. Yeah.
And our daughters are besties, and they live 1,000 miles apart still.
Yeah, 1,000. Yeah, so far apart. Yeah.
And yet they are in each other's lives. They're almost an enmeshment. I mean, there's. I don't want to go that far, but
their spouses are pretty close too. So they have a very unique relationship that a lot of couples don't have.
Especially now that they're both married.
Yes. And so it's really, it's very interesting. and they've had their ups and downs.
Oh yeah.
And apart and together and apart. I mean, they've kind of ebbed and flowed, but like I said, I think those, like with siblings and with and this book is all about siblings. I don't see a sibling story in this that is like that. I don't see a disconnect and then a reconnection.
Correct. They're also in love with each other as siblings.
Totally. Like, even though they argue a little bit, and they get frustrated.
Little cat and dog fights. I mean, they're
right.
Yeah.
I think there might be another layer if they would have had, if she would have, if Shonda or Julia would have put another layer of conflict, I guess.
The most in that regard, I think the most interesting relationship in all of this Netflix series is Eloise and Penelope.
Right. And that is it. I mean, I can't remember, but is it even really in the books?
Not for long.
Not like in
the Netflix.
No. Mm-mm. And they, because they like look across the room and they just know, they have like that.
You feel the angst, and
they don't even need to talk. They just kind of, they nod, they
nod, the friendship,
they hate society, they hate yeah. You're
and
right.
even their fight over the difference between having this loving Bridgerton family for Eloise in this first set of series, and then Penelope having to get married. Just look at her family, like even the juxtaposition of family,
right,
and what those two have, and yet they're trying to navigate all that and find their friendship. Far more interesting, I think, than some of the romances.
Right.
And that was my takeaway this time around. And like you said, maturity. I don't know if, because I'm writing historical fiction, which in World War II, where it's life and death and friendships save lives or could put lives in jeopardy.
Yeah.
I was a little bored. Like, I had to kind of force myself to read a lot of this book.
Right. Well, and I'm gonna do a shameless plug for this last book, you're the Last Paris Housekeeper. The relationships between the three women, to me, were just, yes, it was in World War II, and yes, there was danger and there was life and death danger, right? But those relationships, that's what I would turn the page for, to see what was going to happen next with, the building of the relationship. How was it going to end? How was it going to, what was going to happen with those relationships? And there was no romantic relationship between them. It was all just kind of like friendship, but also just, they weren't they were friendly.
Yeah, the family they created, family.
Yeah,
a different kind of family.
Yes.
So I feel like romance back here.
Yeah.
And maybe it's romance in general, because I haven't read a lot of romance in a long time, is that I feel as though there's this lack of depth. It's just very much, will they or won't they? We all know they do, because there's happy endings in romance.
Right.
So it almost feels like this manufactured conflict.
Right.
As we're going through.
And the black moment, or don't you call it the black moment?
The black moment. Lather, rinse, repeat. And I feel like there is that reader who finds comfort in that security, maybe even in knowing the formula. And let me tell you, romance has a formula.
Right. You are right. If you are looking for comfort or for routine, I heard a quote this week: the wondrous ordinary. The wondrous ordinary. Like, if you are needing that wondrous ordinary, yes, like a traditional romance, just like the Netflix Christmas movies, what's gonna happen. But
you can set your watch on those. Yes.
When when the black moment's gonna happen, they're gonna split up.
And in a book, you can open it to the middle and know it's going to be a sex scene. I mean, you can
exactly. Yes. And you can kind of
Yeah.
tell as they start to look, they start to get heated up. But there is a wondrousness in that ordinary. If you are, didn't you at one point, somebody, a missionary or somebody was reading
Yes.
your book,
Yes.
right? Like a missionary that was by herself, I mean, with her husband, by herself, kind of off in a land that was not stable. And she said that comfort of knowing what was going to kind of not knowing exactly the story, but kind of knowing how it was going to go was very comforting to her.
Actually, it was even deeper than that. She had been kidnapped and had been
What?
rescued. Yeah, she had been kidnapped as a missionary and then rescued, and she couldn't sleep at night. And so she would pick up my romances, and it would give her comfort through the night, knowing the lather was repeat, if you will, knowing the structure of that. And it gave her comfort over the night through the night. And that's what kept me writing romance for so long, was that one letter early in my career. I want to say it was like book 2 or 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
and yes. And I mean, that
so there's
story, I
value.
remembered.
Yeah.
Do what?
There's value in the lather, there's value in what I consider maybe a little bit of a boring story. I mean, like at Christmas time, there's so many Hallmark movies you can watch. Some people love it. It's like eating candy, it's like part of the season. But after about 2 or 3, I'm like, I'm gonna gag. But that's me.
Well,
And I
and
didn't
yeah,
always.
we seek out the ones that aren't quite that same formula.
Yeah.
Jerry and I, we seek it out and start watching that right after Thanksgiving, just like putting up your Christmas lights. We start watching one every night, and we kind of seek those ones out that aren't your usual, boy meets girl. There's a bingo, there's a Christmas Netflix bingo.
There's a bingo.
There's a bingo that you can do where it's like, a special ornament or whatever. But we seek out the ones that aren't like that, that are kind of different. So it's
and harder to find.
They are hard to find. But I think they are trying to make, I mean, it'll be interesting this season, but I think they're trying to make some that are a little different. And this formula in the Bridgerton series does go a little off.
Yeah.
There's conflict, but like with the Eloise Penelope story, with the Queen Whistledown elements, that's not your traditional boy meets girl. They have a conflict, and then they happily ever after. There are some elements in it that do make it a little different, which I like.
You hear the lawnmower. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I thought you were going to hear the traffic out on the street.
Real live,
right?
Okay.
We're in our lives here. We're real. So that's what we do.
The messiness of life. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so let's just talk about openings, because I feel as though when we get the Bridgerton book, she doesn't even meet Simon. I think it's like, what, chapter 5 or 6?
Okay, yeah.
It's long into it. And they're at the ball. And there's been a lot of changes. So, okay, so 2 things that I think were somewhat controversial when Bridgerton series, when Shonda Rhimes got a hold of it.
Okay.
2 of the things that were somewhat controversial. And one of them was the casting.
Yeah.
I personally loved it. I thought long time coming.
The diversity of the cast? Yeah. I loved all of them except Daphne.
Wasn't she the worst?
She looks like a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little disheartening. And she doesn't look like a Bridgerton.
No.
At all.
At all. And he is so masculine.
Yes.
He's pretty and yet masculine.
Yes.
Like I could see him as a James Bond. Like he is a masculine guy.
Right.
And he's not a baby. He's a man.
Right. And I didn't expect her, I know that in those times they were younger. Usually the women that, the girls that came out or whatever came out into society were younger, like, 16, 17, but she looks 12.
Right. And in the book, it was her third season. So she's easily 20, 21 in the book.
Yeah.
She's not 19,
Yeah.
17.
I think that was the only casting that I was like, no.
Yeah.
Don't like it. Don't like it.
I agree. I thought, I would agree with that. And even the way they opened the story. Do you remember how they opened in Netflix versus the book? In the book, well, Netflix, it was with the Queen. It was the presentation, and we get Eloise immediately screaming,
Yeah. Get down here.
Make haste.
Yes. And hating the whole thing, like rolling her eyes at every possible.
And also getting that family dynamic in the
Yes.
very opening.
Right.
And I feel like we don't really get that in the book. It's almost as if when Julia Quinn was writing the book, she didn't have the plan in her mind. It was like, okay, I'm just going to make this big family. I don't know that she had 8 books in mind. It wasn't her first romance. It was maybe, and it wasn't her first Regency romance. I think it became the animal that it became long after she wrote this first book. And I don't know if she saw the success. It was the most successful book she'd ever written prior to that. Okay. And her publisher, Avon, let's keep going.
Yeah.
And even like the whistle down, like if you look at it, some of the chapters, she doesn't even have a whistle down intro.
Right.
Or it's like one line.
It's like one line. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, as the book's progressed, it's all whistle down.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And she, I don't know if your book has the conversation that she had with her dad, because her dad was a writer.
Yes.
Julia's dad was a writer. Mm-hmm. And she had a conversation about Whistledown with him because he said, well, who is it? And she goes, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
When she wrote the first book, she didn't know who Whistledown was going to be yet. Mm-hmm. I thought that was actually I was like, that is so cool. And it just showed this dynamic between her and her father. Mm-hmm. Because he was like, this is how you write type writer, I think. And she was going a little off script by not.
She was the first to tell you she had planned to go to medical school. Yeah. And yeah, it's the first thing she'll put in her bio is that she went to a very private women's college, with the idea of going to medical school, ultimately married a doctor.
Okay.
And so, yeah, the writing thing was not in the plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so there's again, a layer. Once you read something about the author, then when you read the characters, it does give another layer. Yeah. Okay. I can see where she's coming from. But in a Netflix series, I just don't, I don't get those layers. I just don't see that layer of human emotion. I mean, I get the stories and that kind of thing, but those layers aren't as rich, you don't get to see it.
Well, and I think that Shonda Rhimes in general is known for sexy shows. And I feel as though she really leaned into the sexiness of it. I mean, first time we meet Anthony he's banging his mistress up against a tree.
Right. Right.
So that's our impression of him.
Exactly.
And
that's not even in the book.
No.
It's not even in the book.
She's not in the book at all.
Yeah, Anthony with the opera singer and the Featherington cousin.
Yeah.
Does she show up later in the books, or is that another one?
Well, Sir Philip shows up. Sir Philip, see, this was filling in blanks. Okay. And Sir Philip with Love, that's Eloise's book.
Yeah.
His wife is dead, and Eloise goes to be a governess, I think. Yeah. She just leaves and takes care of, I think it's twins, if I remember, a boy and a girl. And We meet Sir Philip because he's the one that agrees to marry her because it was the brother that was the soldier.
Okay. Yes.
That was all filler. That was not at all in any of the books.
Okay. That's what I thought, because I was like, I certainly don't remember that story, but again, 20 years of,
The only thing I remembered was Philip, and I remembered him having twins. I remember the wife dying. Was it
okay.
in childbirth, maybe, or something? And it was not a love match. That's all I remember was with the
Yeah,
first one.
he came and claimed her because, yes, he came and
Yeah,
claimed her in the series
correct.
because of his brother.
Right. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think one of
Okay.
the things with the Netflix is that Shonda Rhimes, you could tell they had read all the books and they were trying to present everything they could in the first to get you hooked.
Yes.
Because a lot of the stuff, and again, I don't think that the writer had these lofty plans that books ultimately became. I think it was one book at a time. To
Right.
hit the whistle sound was, I think it became its own little animal,
Okay.
as
Yeah.
she was writing it and finding great success
Yes.
with these books. And I never really had the same success with any of her other, like, I don't know, series. That she even, at one of the books, she goes back and writes Violet's love story. Like, she goes all the way back. This is
Oh
after,
yeah, there's a little prequel. There's a little
yeah,
prequel book. Yeah,
yeah,
Violet and the husband, the
yeah.
scoundrel.
And then she had another series she started. She wrote the one book from one perspective and then rewrote the same book from a different perspective. And I think she got a lot of beef for that
Really, that's
from
interesting.
authors. I don't think that readers probably thought it was clever.
Yeah.
Um, but you know what? I mean, what a body of work if this is
Yeah.
all she ever wrote.
Yes. Well, it's kind of like J.K. Rowling's with Harry Potter. I mean, then she doesn't need to write anything else. I mean, she wrote the best thing,
Right.
and
Rest
so
on the laurels.
yeah,
Rest on the
yeah,
laurels.
yeah, exactly. I think Harper Lee said that about To Kill a Mockingbird. Somebody
I
asked
think
her, how come you haven't written anything else? And she goes, I said everything I needed to say in the first book. Like I don't have anything
what a
else to say.
classic. I think The Help was like that. There's just
Yeah.
not,
Oh
that
yeah.
was
The
the
help.
book. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you, a question for you as an author and a writer? You said like she had no idea it would go to screen. Do you ever write with this kind of niggle or in the back of your mind, like how would this look on screen? Or do you just write, okay, I'm just going to write the story, come what may? Is it? Do you tell me your thoughts on that?
Um, I think that the written word is such a different medium than screen
Uh-huh.
that it's never occurs to me because there's so much I can say in a book that you never see on screen.
Yeah.
And every author that's ever really had their books turned into movies, especially like a short 2-hour movie, is
Right.
always disappointed with how it came out because there's so much that gets thrown away.
Right.
So as an author, we're pretty verbose. We love telling the story. That being said, the idea is I want to create pictures in your mind as you're reading. So I don't want you reading words. I want you, it's as if I'm sitting next to you telling you a story and you're seeing it all come to life, becoming the main character and
Okay.
living the story as that person. And
Okay.
that's a different kind of writing than like literary fiction where it's all about the words. So I always say my job as a commercial fiction writer
Yeah.
is to have you that you're reading words and that you're immersed in story. So it's all about story.
The story.
Those translate really well in the video, or the video medium.
Okay. That's good.
So
That's
I
good.
don't know
I
if that's
mean,
an answer, but
yeah, no, I like that because I mean, I'm sure 20 years ago, she was not because it took a long time. 20
yeah,
years. Usually books, if they get into film or whatever, they don't usually, I guess maybe I don't know. We're going to explore that, aren't we? How
we
many
are.
actual books there are that have been movies or
Or
ever.
movies that started as books that people didn't even know, which
Yeah.
is what we're going to be doing. This is
Yes.
the
So we're
idea
going
of
to
our
let you
podcast.
know. Yeah, it's going to be fun to kind of research different, series, different movies, and read the books that maybe I haven't read that I was like, oh, I love that movie. And
Mhm.
it wasn't an original screenplay. It was from a
From a book.
book, And so I'm really excited to start kind of exploring that and seeing yeah. So, and doing the, Booker movie, or Booker screen, pager screen,
Major
um,
screen.
pager screen. So,
Well, and this 8-episode series, Netflix has opened a new kind of way of telling a book in
right,
video form
right,
that we haven't seen prior to when this book came out, this series came out 20 years ago.
right.
So they're like All the Light You Cannot See was a
Yes.
series, and that helped it so much.
You couldn't have done it in 2 hours.
Yeah,
You
no
couldn't
way.
have done that story in 2
No way.
hours.
Totally different story.
Right.
So I think starting with this one was kind of fun because it's sort of the beginning of our friendship. We
Yeah.
have like a family or sisters come and gone, and now we're together again and we're reconnecting. And I
Yes.
love that it all started with fiction and even romance. And both of us really aren't reading romance that much anymore. I don't think I've read a romance in probably 5 years, 6 years.
Well, it is one of my comforts.
Uh-huh.
Because sometimes I don't, oh, this is going to sound terrible. Sometimes I don't want to think, but I just don't want to try to solve a mystery, or I don't want to really resolve a huge life world conflict. I
Yeah.
want to just, okay, I know what I can, I'm going to know what to expect. And I just want to watch something like that, or read something like that.
Back to it's comfort.
Yeah.
It's comfort food. There's nothing wrong with ice cream and popcorn.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So as we're wrapping up,
Yes.
so tell me, did you like book or screen? Page or screen?
I'm thinking page for me.
Okay.
Because of my own personal history with it.
Mm.
So page, I'm going to watch all of the series as they come out with, I'm like waiting for the next one. I love it, but the page just holds a special place in my heart. So
Very pure.
yes, it's very pure.
Purity.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm gonna disagree. I thought screen.
Okay.
And the reason is when I went back and reread, I think if I had not reread it and had gone on memory, I would have said page. But having reread it, I felt as though there was just a lot of navel gazing. A lot of thinking. Too much thinking.
Okay.
Not enough going on. I feel like, and I love some of the additions that the Netflix series has with the Eloise and Penelope relationship. Loved that. Loved just the introduction of Queen Charlotte. I love Lady Dan. Was it Danbury?
Dansbury.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love her casting way better than in the book. I thought she was just a little. I love that it was elevated. So I would have to say, for the benefit of where I am now as just a person and a reader and a viewer, I like the screen better.
Good.
But
Good.
without this, there would have been no screens. So
right.
I will always cherish, even in our friendship, I will always cherish the books for how it brought us together, and 20 years ago, before this was, like a worldwide phenomenon.
Right. Right.
And I love that we were, what was one of the things we talked about with this podcast is
that's not new. That's not new. We already did it.
And there will be some of that as we go forward. We will be talking about stuff that is not new. People are getting obsessed over, and no, that's not new. Did that. This is our first one. We were way ahead of the curve with this.
We were. We should have done. Those are things where there's going to be a lot of those. Oh, we should have done that. Oh, we thought of that. We did that. We should have come up with that. But
shoulda, coulda, woulda. Yep. Yes, that's not new. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know that we're gonna kind of have those kind of segments, and I'm really excited for those too. but also we're going to have the last word. And I would love to hear your last word on this
Okay. My
beautiful
last
thing.
word is, I just want to thank the author, Julia Quinn, for creating a world and a family that has become so beloved across the world. But, to all of us who are on the front end, all the people that it's brought together, I'm able to talk with it to my daughter. Our daughters have been watching it, and they are not at all romance people,
Yeah.
in terms of reading. And so I feel as though I just want to thank the author. I want to say that we're not, I like Netflix series better. There is a series about it. I just want to thank all authors, for just creating worlds that didn't
Yes.
exist before it popped into their mind. And those crazy cuckoo banana minds.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
So
They actually put it down on paper, and that's great.
yes. And if you
Yes.
think that this is my next one, and encouraging and inspiring 1% of the people that want to write a book do it. And so
Me.
do it. Just write it. You can edit it later. Sit down, do it, because the world needs story. However you want to put it down, however you want to write it, whatever
Thank
genre,
you. Yeah.
whatever you want to do it. I love story. This is what brought us together, and it will continue to keep us together. And so again, thank you.
Thank you. This has been a great first one. I think I loved it. I loved talking with you about it. So hopefully we can do it again in a couple weeks.
All right. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.